Right now, let's talk about the receivers. I went and looked at our boy Tet McMillan, the receiver out of Arizona. He is the consensus top receiver in this year's draft. He's from Arizona, junior, 21 years old, 6'5", 210 pounds.
That's a big dude, bro.
Yeah, so when you think of 6'5", 210 guys, the guys that come to mind for me, Drake London fits that mold. Mike Evans fits that mold. I'm also thinking a little bit of A.J. Brown as well. As far as really tall dudes, they got a little bit of size on them as well. If you're not familiar with this game, here's some of his stats. In 2024, 84 catches. He amassed 1,300 yards, 1,319 to be exact. Receiving yards per catch, 15.5 per catch. And then when on a per game basis, 109 per game with 8 touchdowns on the season. 2023, he was even more productive. And that was when we saw him go against Travis Hunter, have the one-handed catch in the back of the end zone with Travis Hunter guarding him. We didn't get to see Travis this year. I believe Travis was hurt for the Arizona-Colorado matchup this year. Some positives that I wrote for Tet McMillan. Strong hands, excellent body control. You'll see him a lot of times down the sideline make really good catches, whether it's on comeback routes, Fafia being his quarterback at Arizona, or down the field. So to me, he's a guy that's has a big catch radius. Me and Wolchuk were talking about him. He got a lot of money on those crosser routes. So kind of on those shallow cross routes, he would have kind of a late throw from Fafia. Also some other good things. Definitely a possession receiver. Wasn't much of a yards after catch guy. Every once in a while, the defense would break down and there would be green grass in front of him. But as far as when I think of yards after catch guys, thinking of a Zay Flowers, thinking of an Xavier Worthy, where it doesn't look like there's any space. All of a sudden, they're bursting through that tiny seam, taking it to the house. That's not exactly Tet's game.
Of course, he's not. But real quick, when you mentioned Zay Flowers and you mentioned Xavier Worthy, like those are what,
those small
5'11"?
Yeah,
I was going to say 5'11", 6 foot.
Yeah. And then for some of his negatives right here, limited breakaway speed, limited route tree. From the film I watched from his 2024, a lot of comebacks, a lot of curls, a lot of crossers, and then of course the shot plays up the sideline. Heavily relying on the comeback routes. I put on here, I think this is my biggest takeaway. Definitely needs a complimentary receiver to thrive. Yeah. I think to me, he could be a one. Like, he has the body type, but when you watch the film, you're like, okay. I mean, I get it. Arizona in 2023, he was the guy. And all the defenses knew he was the guy going into 2024, so they just overloaded on him. Yeah. Which is why his numbers kind of submerged a little bit. He wasn't that dynamic receiver that I think people were hoping for. Now, if you were somebody that just watched week 1 when he was going to win against New Mexico and he took the world by storm, in that game, 10 catches, 304 yards, and 4 touchdowns, along with a 78-yard touchdown. Oh, my gosh, this is the best receiver in the nation. Obviously, he's going to be a top pick.
It's also New Mexico.
After that game, he only scored 4 touchdowns the rest of the season combined. So scored half his touchdowns in week 1.
Don't sleep on the Big 12. So I'm trying to tell y'all.
I think I wrote on here for another negative, benefits from defensive lapses rather than pure separation. There wasn't a lot of times where I saw him in press, just getting separation. That's a big thing to me in the NFL. Obviously, you can have great hands. We saw that with Roma Dunze, who wasn't a great route runner at Washington. But our boy, Michael Penix would just put the ball in a great place and just said, Rome's a better athlete. I'm going to throw it up and he'll go get it. Then you watch a guy like Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison, if you go watch their college tape. Granted, they had good guys throwing on the ball, but also they got so open where it was
hard not to
get him. So, where Roma Dunze would just give me. Roma Dunze also had one of the best contested catch rates. I think it was top 2 or 3. So he's the guy that could catch the contested ball, but I think in college I like to see guys who get separation. Tet, for me, just wasn't doing it that much, and he was very ineffective on those bubble screens, which is becoming a very popular thing. The tunnel screens, the bubbles, we see even the Chiefs with Xavier Worthy. That's their first or second play a lot of times, even with CeeDee Lamb with the Dallas Cowboys. It's you don't need this illustrious route tree sometimes. I'm just going to get the ball to my best player in space
and go make a play.
And go make something. And with Tet, I didn't see much of that. Kind of a summary, putting it all together. I'll just read you what I wrote up. Tet McMillan is a possession receiver with strong hands, excellent body control, and a big catch radius, making him a reliable target, especially in contested situations. His ability to make tough downfield and sideline catches is his best trait. He works in the middle of the field well. However, his route tree is somewhat limited, relying heavily on the comeback routes, curls, and crossers. While he occasionally runs away from a defender, he lacks true breakaway speed and doesn't create separation consistently on his own. His success often comes from his size advantage or defensive lapses rather than elite route running and great feet. Ultimately, McMillan projects as an X receiver who thrives with a dynamic counterpart to help open up opportunities. Now, if he had a guy like a Devonta Smith, like a Zay Flowers, like a Malik's maybe a little bit more of an alpha, but some of those slot guys that can really open up the field where all of a sudden he does really well against zone.
Yeah.
Guys are in zone and they're kind of falling asleep, and all of a sudden he's creeping behind. He makes a contested catch. 2 or 3 guys collapse on him, where maybe a smaller guy might drop that. He's going to hold on to that deep end, that deep crosser. Maybe a shot play up the sideline where the corner's in cover 2 and kind of falls asleep. You got a safety slamming down and cloud coverage coming towards him on the sideline. Tet's going to make that catch. So I understand the allure. I know. I was texting Zach. Zach loves him. He's a big guy, 6'5", 210. He's going to make those contested catches. But and this
he's going to get open.
He'll get open.
Okay.
I think, and I did this last year when I was talking about the prospects. I think I definitely just shown my bias. I prefer the Malik Neighbors, the Jamar Chase, the CeeDee Lamb, the guys that are physical but also have breakaway speed. I can throw you a bubble screen, you can take it to the house.
Absolutely.
I'm not as much of a fan of the possession receiver who's going to kind of catch it. First or second guy's going to take you down. Like, they're reliable. Don't get me wrong, but I'm using a first round pick on them.
I was going to say, when I think of possession receiver, I think of a complementary piece.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that I'm definitely not using the 12th overall pick on a possession receiver.
And so funny enough that you say that, when the draft process first started, as soon as college football season ended, even before, he was kind of a consensus top 10 guy. Saw him as high as 8, 7, 6. The more the process has gone on, I looked at where some other people had him as well. I've seen him as low as 18. I've seen him 16. I've seen him 15. So he's been dropping a little bit. Some comps and molds to take home with you. On the high end, I said, and this is just this one I came up with just out of the blue. I don't know if anyone would agree. I put a 50% speed AJ Brown. He reminded me a lot of and that's on the high end. That is, if he plays to his best potential, he could be AJ Brown but half as fast. Another one I put when I kind of talking to Broadus and Wolchuk, a less physical Mike Evans.
See, that's the first thing that comes to my mind when you say 6'5", 210.
Very similar traits, similar kind of play style, kind of where they're running that cross route, like not really running away from somebody. Someone's kind of always tailing on them, grabbing their ankles, but they're making big catches, heavy targeted. Like
Mike Evans a good go route guy. I mean, that's the thing is, can Tet be that guy?
No, he can definitely. A lot of his touchdowns were on the go route, never because he was running past somebody, though. I don't know if I saw that one time where just straight up man coverage, I'm just blown by you. It was a lot of times just literally like, when you play jackpot back in the day where you just throw the ball up and just go and grab it.
Okay.
That's what a lot of his were, where I didn't love his quarterback.
It's like you just got, hey, my guy's 6'5", your guy's 5'11".
There was a couple times where there was 3-4 guys draped on him. He's just literally chunking the ball up and he's coming down with it. He had a couple one-handed grabs I thought was nice. I'm a big fan of footwork, big fan of great separation, and that's why probably I'm not as big a fan of Tet. On the low end, maybe like a Drake London, a Robert Woods, like just kind of a possession receiver who makes a highlight play every once in a while. So my overall takeaway, he's probably going to be the first or second receiver drafted, but I just don't know if he's going to be your dominant X, your franchise receiver, as we like to see in the first round. We had 3 receivers drafted in the top 10 last year. I don't think that's going to happen this year, and I still think Tet will probably be the first one going.
He'll probably be the first true wide receiver draft,
because he's an X. He's an X.
Because Travis Hunter, I mean, he's going to go as a cornerback. He's already agreed that he's going to go to the combine and work as a corner. Now, he'll do some wide receiver stuff. Yeah. Now, Walter Football, which is my favorite draft website, because I think they do a phenomenal job of breaking everything down and just the amount of information that you get. They've got your boy Tet going 6 to the Raiders.
There you go.
All right. And they said everything you did, hell, their only knock on him was the same as yours, just doesn't have elite speed.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, they love everything about this dude. Ready to contribute immediately, gives a size mismatch, makes plays in the clutch, durable, adept at finding soft spots in the zone.
That was a good one.
Good technique, tracks the ball well. And this one might be, these two might be, or maybe these 3 might be my most important after you've talked about already having great hands. High points the ball, gritty receiver, reliable, rarely drops passes.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Outside of like having that 99 speed, which, look, we'd all love to have that in our wide receiver, he checks every other box that you need.
I think they put it at a really good point of him finding the soft spot in the zone. When you watch the tape, you see that a lot.
And you say he's willing to go across the middle.
When he's going across the middle, you'll see him kind of get behind those linebackers. Next guy I want to transition to, I know Khaki Kev will enjoy this guy, Matthew Golden, the Houston transfer from that played at Texas this past year. He's going to be a junior, 21 years old, 6 foot 195. I'll read you some of the positives and negatives, and then we'll get to the summary of him and kind of see what you think about him. Just to remind everyone his stats, he had 58 catches, 987 yards for Texas this year, 17 yards per catch, 62 yards per game with 9 touchdowns. Positives. First one that popped out to me, smooth footwork. This guy's feet is like butter. Impressive contested catchability for his size. A smaller guy, but had really good job of catching the ball downfield. Explosive kick returner as well. Was a kick returner for Texas, especially early on. That's where a lot of his big moments came from. A versatile route runner. Saw him run a bunch of different routes. Thought he had a very extensive tree. A clutch performer in big games. Some of Matthew Golden's best plays were in the playoffs, were in the SC championship, and also does a good job of creating penalties by forcing defensive mistakes. Some of his negatives, one more positive, excuse me, create great acceleration out of the break. That's also a big fan of mine. Some of his negatives, lacks physicality at the catch point. Kind of if he's running that slant and there's a bigger corner, can kind of knock him off his spot. Has the occasional bonehead penalty. We saw that, I think, in the SC championship game, the face mask on the little bubble screen. Gets his hands in the Ohio State defender's face mask. And then had a slow start to the season as far as getting on Quinn's, I don't want to say good side, but he's transfer. You know, he's got Isaiah Bond over there. He's got some guys that he's kind of used to. And then I'll read you the summary we got from him, and we'll chat about him for a little bit. Matthew Golden emerged as Texas' top receiver in electric offense, showing a well-rounded skill set as both a pass catcher and kick returner. Though he started the season slowly, he provided a reliable target for Quinn in big moments, leading Texas in receiving yards against Georgia. Became Quinn Ewers' go-to option in high-stakes situations down the season, which I thought was impressive. His crisp footwork created lots of separation on his routes. He also displayed the ability to make tough catches, especially for a receiver under 200 pounds. Golden runs a full route tree, frequently attacking defenses with wheel routes and speed outs, where he was consistent red zone threat. However, he can improve his physicality at the catch point, had some undisciplined penalties that hurt his team. Despite those issues, his explosiveness and playmaking ability make him a promising prospect at the next level. If you watch the tape, one thing that you'll notice, especially when they got down on the goal line, Quinn, they would just call a speed out all the time, and Kev can probably attest this watching all the Texas games. Quinn would call a speed out. Our boy Golden would do a little nod inside, and then he'll run the speed out. Boom, right on the pylon. Quinn puts it right in his hands. Easy touchdown. They scored 3 or 4 times on that one. And then obviously Quinn's best play of his career, the 4th and 13 against Arizona State, where he checks into max protect. Matthew Golden runs a little post route. Money wide open in the end zone. So I thought he had some big clutch catches against Georgia, and probably the 2 biggest games outside of the Arizona State game. That's when he played his best football. In the
I'll tell you what. Just a little fun fact about him. He played in 3 different conferences.
Look at that.
Okay. Just a little nugget out there in case you want to surprise your friends with draft knowledge. 22 touchdowns in 3 seasons.
Yep.
Okay. This dude is...
he gets in the end zone.
There's something to be said for having an ability to get into the end zone. That's big in college, and it's big in the NFL as well. I could see him being one of these guys. I can tell you what, not to be all... prisoner of the moment, but I'm going to go ahead and be prisoner of the moment. I could see him having an Xavier Worthy type season as a rookie next year.
So against ASU, he had 7 catches for 149 yards and a touchdown.
Bowling.
Against
he had 162 yards in the SEC game.
Yep.
Or SEC championship.
Yep. And the SEC, so both times they played Georgia, he was the leading target guy, leading receiver, leading in catch. He had 8 for 162 in the SEC championship, had that drop touchdown. And then also the first time they played Georgia, led them in receiving yards with 77. So big games, big moments. Matthew Golden stepped up. Clutch 3rd and 4th down was Quinn Ewers' go-to guy. So I think a little bit of context on who Texas was as an offense and how big of a part he played in it shows how good of a receiver he is. I'm not putting him above Tet. I personally prefer him over Tet.
Yeah.
But I understand the 6'5", 210. This guy can go catch the ball and dunk on anybody in Ted McMillan. But I also think Matthew Golden is going to be a great piece to add to some great offense. Like I could see him on the Rams and being great for Sean McVay. Would love the Cowboys to get a guy like Matthew Golden. So we'll continue bringing you different players. I'll be studying Luther Burden and Emeka Ibuka this week and give that to you guys later on this week. And then this weekend, I will look at the cornerbacks. Freddie D. Davis. We'll look at running backs and tight ends for next week's coverage. So if you enjoyed Blake's breakdowns, send I enjoyed it. If you hated it, send I hated it. Let us know. We're just trying to give more knowledge to you guys and share the wealth.
I may just be lazy and just try to reach out to a tight end prospect.
Do as you wish.
Just have him come on to the show. Hey, bud, you tell us what the profile is.
Are you good or not?
Okay?
Just tell us.
Where would you draft you?
Mm-hmm.
All right? Channeling our inner Megan Buckley, would you date you?
Yeah.
We'll just change that to, would you draft you and win?
Mm-hmm.